Hi, welcome to Level 4 Part 2. I'm picking up exactly where I left off. We'd created Level 4 under my attempt. We had populated it from basically the contents of Level 3, but shuffling the files into the correct subfolders. We also have a blank app.py at the moment. I'm going to bring this over here, close that. All right, so Level 4. This is the script, by the way, that we ran in the previous one, the setup folders script, if you want to have a look at the content. So what we're going to do is just copy, paste as per fairly normal. Okay, so that's the content of app.py, Alt, Shift A, and that's it. So once we get to this point, if I start a shell in Level 4, I have the bare minimum that I need to have done to create a Flask application. And if I were to go Python app.py, you can see it started running, okay? And this is actually Flask running. And what it does is it prompts us on port 5000. So I'm going to control click that link. And well, you can see there's some error messages here, but if I go over to my browser, it's blinking, I should get this thing here. In fact, what I might do, so what I've done, just I'll close that off so you don't recognize it. This is basically Flask delivering the bare minimum. So what we've done is we've created the web page, which we copied from level 3, right? So it's still L3. It hasn't picked up any of the styling or anything like that, but it has actually picked up something. So that's a good sign. So let's go back over now. Let's kill this, Control C. And what you can see is when you run it, if there's stuff that it can't find, so style, I think you'll find the icon wasn't working. I'm sure the favicon wasn't working. A bunch of stuff wasn't working. We have to make more changes. But this thing is crucial, this app.py. This is really what makes or breaks Flask application. I would say this, along with the formatting of the folders, is really the core to the Flask application. So what we've got to make a PWA is a JSON file and a service worker. For Flask application, we're looking at app.py. Okay, so we now need to go back and forth and make all the changes we need to make this work. Basically, what's happening is, let me get rid of that. Let me find our documentation. Here it is here. So there's a whole bunch of file changes required. If you go through, there's quite a lot. And what these changes are really all about is changing your code. So we're going to change index.html, we'll see in a minute. And we've got to change page.1, and we've got to make a few other changes. But basically all the changes are letting Flask find these files in the change folder structure. That's what they're really all about. So in this case, it says in index.html, find style.css and replace it with this. So I'm going to copy this, Control C. And I'm going to go to our code. We're in index.html, which is in templates, and style.css. So our advice was change style.css for this string here. So I'm going to do just that. I'm literally going to go in there. I'm going to leave the quotes there, Control V. Okay. And, you know, we could actually test this out, right? So maybe what we could do is we could have a look at port 5000. May work, may not work. Oh, we've got to You might have to rerun it. Okay, it started again. And you can see now the styling's come up. And so that styling came up because we changed this line of code, which showed Flask how to apply the style sheet where it is basically. What it's basically saying is look in the static folder, which is there, for our style sheet. And so it's worked. You would also notice that it has not got a favicon, right? So we didn't change the favicon, so it didn't work. So what we could do is we can actually use this exact same syntax. If I do Control C there, Control V, and then I take favicon, Control X, and put it in here. So effectively all I've done is exactly the same syntax, just change the file names. And I go over and I refresh. You can see the favicon comes up, right? So it's working pretty well. So this is really going through. We need to find out wherever we've accessed an external file, and we just change the syntax. And we can do that by going through this document here. It walks you through one by one. I will go through this myself. You obviously have to go through it. Try not to create any syntax errors. Maybe like me, you can test a little bit along the way and see if any problems pop up. Okay, so we've done the style, we've done the favicon, we haven't done the big icon, so we'll do that next. Big icon is a bit further down this one here, I think. Yep. And then what else does it say? We've done this one. Favicon we've done. Manifest.json we have not done, so we need that one. Manifest.json is further up, yeah. So this is the one that will probably get it to run as a PWA. And we just keep going through like this. Okay, so a bit further down it says Navigator service worker register and then service worker.js, which is this one here, this line here. So it's referring to this line here. We need to replace that with this. So let's just grab this whole line. And so here we're saying that instead of going page1.html now, we just go page 1. So the link to page 1 is here. We just delete that out. Yep. Okay. And when that's all done, you may choose to give it a bit of a refresh. And you can see now that it's a PWA, so the manifest is picked up, everything's working, link to the next page is working. Now page 1 has no styling because we haven't touched page 1 yet, so we're going to have to do more or less the same changes we did to index.html to page 1. That's what we'll do now. Let's rush through and quickly do that. My documentation, not there. It is here. Okay, page 1. Okay, style gets changed to this. Oops, that wasn't right. That didn't work somehow. Don't know why. Try again. Okay, that worked. Okay, next one is script.js. Okay. So, yep, that's it there. Big icon. Favicon. tidy that up a bit. And replace service worker.js with this one. This doesn't look right. I would say this is a typo. This should say service worker.js. I might change the documentation here. When you actually go to the web page, by the time you see this video, this will be changed to service worker. So we'll assume that this should say service worker. Let's have a look and see if we can find it. All right, I've had a look at this. I think this does not really, it's not really relevant to page 1, so I think I'll ignore that. I'll probably delete that from the web page by the time you see this video. Okay, we also have to go into manifest.json and change a couple of things there. So let's do that. Close everything down by now. And manifest.json. And what's it asking us to do? It's asking us to replace big icon, so it's prefixing it with /static. Okay. And I imagine this one the same. Yep, big icon, favicon, static. Looks good. And that should be about it. Now I expect this to run. Obviously I might have typos or something like that, but let's get to it and see what it says. Okay, it looks a lot better. What have we got here? So we've got it as a PWA, that's great. It says L3 because we never want to change it. We might go and change that very quickly. L4, great. Yep, that's changed. Don't have much there. Click the link. This is all good. I type something in, save notes, all done. So that has created now a Flask file. This looks easy because I've gone and shown you exactly what to change and how to change it. When you're actually coding this, you may come up with bugs or errors and you're wondering how to decode them. I think I'm going to allocate a whole video just to give a few tips on how you can go about debugging some of your Flask stuff, and how we can use the developer tools to help us do that. So I think I'll create another video about that. After that, we're really looking at level 5, where we can implement an SQL database, right? So we can start saving these sort of comments, not just locally, but on a database as well. And then we could do whatever we want. Then we could have multiple people using them, or all sorts of different things. Certainly multiple devices accessing and modifying the comments as well. So I'm going to leave this video at this point here. Hopefully you've learned a bit about getting a Flask application up and running. As I say, a Flask application is more about, I'm just trying to find can't find it. So the Flask application is about the structure, right? And it's about the app.py. Okay, they're the two critical things. I'll leave it there. See you in the next video. Bye.